Hello, welcome to Mind Matters with Sandy and Kathleen. You might notice that Sandy's missing. And the reason for that is that because of the whole coronavirus issue that we're experiencing at the moment, Sandy and I can't be in the same place. So what we have done, if you have a look on our Facebook page, if you search for Mind Matters with Sandy and Kathleen, you'll see that we've posted some videos on how Zoom sessions work and shown the two of us together, and we had a bit of a chat about how managing anxiety and that sort of thing. So we are going to do some things together and some things apart over the coming months, just out of necessity because of the way that things are having to work at the moment. So unfortunately, Sandy has an immune compromised partner, and so just to be safe, I'm staying away from our office because that's his home as well. So what I wanted to talk about today is things that we can do to try and manage anxiety. I know a lot of people are feeling the stress and anxiety about what's going on at the moment. There's a lot of uncertainty. And when there's a lot of uncertainty, we often look for something to hang on to. And I think regardless of what country you've been in or are living in at the moment, there's a lot of people doing a lot of things, like they're hoarding food and they're hoarding medicines, and obviously overbuying toilet paper seems to be a global issue. And they're doing all these things, and it looks, I know people see them as being very selfish, and there is a selfish component to that, there's no doubt about it. But there's also a level of anxiety about things that we can and can't control, and there's so much unknown going on at the moment. So what I wanted to do was have a little bit of a talk tonight about things that you could do that would help stem the anxiety. So, and help give you that sense of not control, but just of control of your own emotions back again. So I've written myself a bit of a list. So the first thing you can do, it's often shown that people to reduce anxiety and to boost their mood, so that if you're prone to depressive episodes, this is a time that an incident that could really set you off into a depressive episode. So recognizing that early and doing things that can assist you to support your mood is definitely something that you want to do now rather than later. So one of the ways that you can help with anxiety is to express gratitude, to rather than to focus on all the things that are being taken away from us, that we can't do at the moment, that we're frightened of, that we're anxious about, that we have no control over. It's about expressing gratitude for the things that we do have. And I was thinking about some of the things today that I have a lot of gratitude over. I'm very, very grateful for. And they can be quite strange things, really. So one of the things I'm grateful for is that we had our hot water service die here at home. So normally you'd say, we've spent thousands of dollars in the last week on fixing things around the house that we didn't anticipate we were going to have to fix. But our hot water service died, and it died before, it was 10 days ago. It died before we realised that we were going to have this level of issue with coronavirus. So as much as it's been inconvenient and we had no hot water for the day and we had to get somebody out to do it and it cost us a lot of money, I'm actually grateful that it happened when it did. Because if it had have happened in 4 or 5, 6 weeks' time, when we're in the peak of a corona issue, we might not have been able to get somebody out to fix our hot water service. We might have had to have gone without hot water for days, weeks, months even, because people might not have been allowed to come out and do things around the home on a domestic tradie level. So we might have gone without hot water. So I'm really grateful that that's happened. And then just a couple of days ago, we have 2 fridges, one in the garage, a drinks fridge, and we use the freezer for meat and so on. And we have another, a large fridge, family fridge, in the fridge freezer in the kitchen. Well, that decided that it's been a bit, it's been having a few issues over the last few months. It decided the other day that it was just going to freeze everything. And I said to my partner, this is a time we need to get someone out to really have a look at this. We can't be in the middle of a health crisis. It's led to a food crisis with a fridge and freezer that's not working correctly. So we got somebody out to do it, which we had no trouble doing. They came out straight away, and they looked at it and ascertained that it had a fatal issue and that we needed to replace it, which we didn't realise that everybody had been out because they're bulk buying food. People are out panic buying fridges and freezers. So we found ourselves in a situation where there was a limited amount of stock available, and we were lucky enough that the fridge that we wanted was available, and we got it delivered and it's operational. So I'm really grateful that the fridge did have the problems that it had when it did have, because talking to the repairman, he said that he feels that in the next couple of weeks, they're not going to be able to go into residential properties. So I'm really grateful that it happened. Yes, it's been an expensive 10 days or 9 days in which we've had to fix both these problems, but I'm grateful that that happened. I'm also grateful for some other things as well, and that we are experiencing good health. My family's just gone through a period where we haven't been well. We all got a virus of some description, not coronavirus. And I'm grateful that we came through that, and that it didn't happen at the same time as we might have contracted coronavirus. So I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful for technology and the fact that I can sit here and do these things without, I'm not tied to an office somewhere, that I am self-employed and I am able to work my own hours. Is it making it easier for me? No, it's not. I am very much cut off from my clients physically. I've moved everybody over to Zoom appointments, which it's not, so it's not ideal. It's not the right word. It's not the way I like to do things. I like to sit face to face with my clients and connect with them, but I can't do that at the moment. So I'm grateful for the fact that I have an alternative and that I already knew about that alternative. Very grateful. I'm also, and then this is completely, I suppose, out of left field. I'm grateful that my mother-in-law passed away last year. Don't get me wrong. I'm not happy that she died. She was the most wonderful mother-in-law in the world, and I was very blessed to have her. But she'd been incredibly unwell for a long period of time with a lung condition, with a very serious lung condition, and she passed away January of last year. And I think to myself, I'm so grateful that, we always knew that she wasn't going to make it, with that she had a shortened life expectancy. I am so grateful that she did pass away before this hit, because I would have been, my anxiety levels would have been fairly high had she's still been with us now, because I just know that if she'd contracted this virus, that she wouldn't have made it. She would have, possibly been isolated from her family when she passed. Whereas when she did pass last year, all 3 of her children were with her when she went. And I think that was a real blessing. And I feel grateful that they were able to do that. Likewise, I know that my sister-in-law has found it really hard coping without her mum. And I think I'm grateful that she's not going to have to go through a really difficult time with this illness hanging over her. She's got children and a husband and so on, that we would be worried about them, as you naturally would be, and then to have issues with her mum as well. So I'm grateful, even though it's a negative thing that we lost my mother-in-law. I'm grateful that it's not, that it happened before this came along. I'm also grateful that I have a great relationship with my family. So we are tackling this as a group, as we all should be doing in society, is working together. So I'm grateful that I have a really strong family unit, and that we're communicating well, and we're looking after each other, and we're helping each other get the things that we need. Because my parents are in their 70s, and they have their own range of health issues. So I'm concerned about those sorts of things. So I'm definitely practicing gratitude, and it's something that when you feel like you're on that downward spiral, that you feel like, oh, this is all getting too much, or the anxiety levels are picking up, it's the things that you're grateful for that will help ground you, remind you that there are still great things going on. It's just that at the moment, everything's overshadowed by a big media presence for this virus, and it is going to affect us for a long period of time. And I know we have a coverage of listeners from all over the world, and there will be people that are listening to this that have already been well and truly affected by this virus, and there's people that haven't yet, and there's people that have been and that are coming out the other side of it. So practicing gratitude for the things that we still do have. That in Australia, where we have a wonderful medical system, we have a very proactive government, whether you like our Prime Minister or who's in charge or not. At this point in time, we don't have an option to change that. So we need to accept, what we have. And I think that they're doing a wonderful job to try and assist us through this. So I think we should be grateful for the fact that they are throwing a lot of money and resources and time and effort and the very best people they can gather to make these decisions. I think I'm also very grateful for the fact that this is not happened when I'm older. It's happened when I'm in this age group. There's all sorts of things that you can find gratitude. And I think also managing your expectations as well of things helps to relieve a lot of anxiety. I know that there's been a lot of angst over schools closing or not closing and all these sorts of things. And I can tell you that I'm quite happy at this. I take the school issue a day at a time, and And as it stands here today on the 20th of March, I'm quite happy that my child has been to school for the week. I'm not seeing any reason that he shouldn't be there. It gives him continuity and all of those things in the social structure, because the reality is that the schools may need to close down for a period of time. He is an only child. I have a 6-year-old who's an only child, and I have adult children as well, but they don't live at home now and they're not a playmate for him. So he's going to be socially isolated for a long period of time, potentially, if that's the way it goes. And I know he will find that difficult. So I'm grateful at the moment that he's safe at school, that he's able to play with his friends, that he's learning. There's less children at school, so he's getting a better learning environment out of it. And, you know, there's a lot of gratitude to be had there as well. I'm also managing my expectations around that. Do I expect that everybody is going to make 100% the right decision all the time? No, I don't. I expect that everybody is going to give it their best go. And that's how I view what our government is doing. And if you're in, I know we have a large following in the US, and I know that, there's criticism for all the world leaders, and they will say, well, they should be doing this or they could be doing that. But I think that everybody's trying to do the best that they can do under the circumstances. So managing your expectations and saying, hindsight's a wonderful thing. Could they have changed things? Could they have done it a bit better? Should they have done this? Should they have done that? All that does is just create a big air of an umbrella of difficulty over your life. And you don't need to do that. Manage your expectations. What do I expect? I expect that everybody tries their best. Does that mean that they're infallible? No. Does it mean that it's always going to be a flawless execution? Absolutely not. But you just expect that they try, and that's the best that you can do. So what can you do, whether you're in a self-imposed isolation, because we've got all sorts going on across the world at the moment. Some people are in self-isolation because if you're in Australia at the moment, if you've returned home from overseas, you need to put yourself in 14 days of self-imposed isolation, which means no going out, you're in your house, that's it. If you're quarantined because you've been in contact with somebody that's tested positive, if you have in fact tested positive yourself and you need to self-isolate, or if you're in a country where there's lockdown as well, there's lots of people that are in the situation where they're not out and being as social as they would normally be, and they're not necessarily engaging in the pleasurable activities that they would normally get to engage in. So you need to perhaps look at, and I know we've done a podcast before on pleasurable activities, and some of that's not going to be relevant to today, but you could go back and listen to that podcast, and it talks about how what pleasurable activities do for you on a mental health level. So I think we can change those things. This is some people look and going, oh my God, I'm locked down with the kids for a couple of weeks, and that can be hard. And I have to tell you that I wonder how I will go with a 6-year-old if we need to be locked down for 2, 3, 4 weeks. I do wonder that. However, it's made me really think about how resourceful I am and the things that we could do. And so choosing those pleasurable activities, what do you enjoy to do? Break up your day. Break up your day. If you don't, so there's lots of things, like if we talk about eating regular meals and practicing good sleep hygiene. So good sleep hygiene means getting the right amount of sleep for you and trying to keep in with your body's equilibrium. So if it's good for you to, if you normally go to bed at say 10:30 at night and you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, maintain that. That will do the world of good for your mental health, because it's what your body is used to. It's your equilibrium. If you get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, the children get up. I mean, I know during school holidays, often kids will sleep in or so on, and that's fine. So if you said, all right, we normally get up at 7, we might get up at 8 or 8:30 or something, but staying in bed till 10:30 and then not engaging in the activities you would normally engage in and staying inside and then going to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning or something when you normally go to bed at 10:30, all those things are going to have effect on how you see the world and how you feel and your mood and so on. So trying to, maintain good sleep hygiene, do what you would normally do, cutting yourself some slack, of course. And if you do become unwell, of course, you would rest as your body requires. But that would, doing all of those things and eating regular meals. So it may even be the case that it's a good idea to get up in the morning and pack everybody's lunch like you would normally do. Like if you've got school-age children and you normally pack a lunch for them, you can do that in the morning. It's going to fill in some time for you. It's going to allow everybody to make their food choices and to know that their meals are already set out and their lunch is ready to go. So you might get to 12 o'clock and some people want to eat and some people don't. You don't have to stand there and sort of encourage everybody to eat or get their lunch or whatever. They can just grab their lunch box and they've already got that there, because you've got the facilities, because you've got school-age children, or if you go to work and you do those things. So engaging in that sort of stuff. Also, I know one thing that I've done is I decided to grow some seeds, so growing our own food, basically, because we're going into winter here in Australia. So we've got the winter vegetables are starting to come out. So I've been down to Bunnings, and I've actually planted some seeds, because I know my son loves to watch things grow. And I'm not by any means thinking that this is going to feed us. I think it probably will supplement our diet. However, it's more about the activities of growing and learning for him, because if the schools are closed down for a long period of time, this is another learning opportunity rather than, doing the traditional, I suppose, classroom sort of activities, that this is additional stuff that we can do, because he loves to be outside. Regardless of the weather, go outside, rug up. If you've got a backyard or a balcony or someone, go outside, get a change of scenery. It will do the world of good for you. So I've planted some seeds that will start to sprout in the next 4 or 5 days, and so we'll watch those come through the earth. And then I've got some seedlings that I've planted, and then we've got a crop of summer vegetables that we're finishing up with as well. So we've got things that we can go out and we'll be pruning things, and you can just grow flowers, you don't need to grow vegetables either, but there's things that will always be happening. We'll be watching the seedlings grow and then deciding when we need to replant them, and all of those things. So it's an activity that's ongoing, that we can go out every day. We've still got strawberries growing, we've picked strawberries. There's lots of things that we can do out there as well. So I've thought of some outdoor activities. We have a small yard here. It's not huge by any stretch of the imagination. We have quite a small yard, but it is an outdoor space that I can take my son out into. So we've come up with, I've loosely put together some like a plan of what we would do during the day. And because we are socially isolating as well, just for people that aren't in lockdown, there's social isolation going on as well. So, or social distancing, I should say, long term, social distancing. So we will be doing that over the weekend. We won't be going anywhere. So it will be virtually like we are in lockdown. We won't be leaving the premises here. So we will do some cooking. I'm taking it as an opportunity to teach Charlie some things and to take some time doing some things that I wouldn't normally do. I've also put away some activities as well. Like I have boxes. I try and be organised. It doesn't always happen. But I've got some plastic crates, and I've put we've got a wooden train set. I've put all the wooden train set into a crate, and we've got puzzles in a crate, and we've got different things in plastic crates, so that I can turn the toys over, so we don't have the same activities all the time. But I'm going to do a podcast on activities for children that can help not only have them learn, but basically raise the vibration, or raise the energy level of every member of the family, so that you can have a bit of a more harmonious environment while you are in a social distancing or a lockdown situation, anything in between. So as it is hard, it does mean us changing our life, and it does mean us changing our life for potentially months and months and months. And this could go through to Christmas. So we are going to have to learn to live in a new and different way, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be a wonderful thing, because you might get to do all the things that you haven't necessarily had to do, or had time to do, I should say, before. So when it comes to anxiety and thinking about those things, practice good breathing techniques. Practice the good positive visualizations. And I'm going to attempt in the next few days to record a visualization exercise that I will put up as a podcast as well, that can help take you out of the space that you're in. And you can do it as a family. You don't have to do it, or as a group, if you've got a couple of people together, or a group of you that need to be together in the house. You don't have to do it on your own. You can blast it through your Google Home system, because this is available on Spotify and iHeart Radio, iTunes and Soundcloud, as well as obviously this video as well. So I am going to put that up, which will be, we'll almost call it like a guided meditation, but it's a visual technique to help you visualize putting yourself in a better place, putting yourself somewhere where you feel comfortable, and relaxing the body and getting your breathing going well, just to keep yourself calm and relaxed. So I'll probably leave it there for tonight. Always welcome feedback and questions, or if there's anything that you particularly want me to talk about or for Sandy to talk about, by all means, go ahead and send us an email. Our email address is Sky Wellbeing Centre. So that's SKYE, well, WELLBEING Centre, Wellbeing Centre at bigpond.com, BIGPOND.com. So by all means, send through an email if there's any feedback that you have, or any questions or topics that you want us to cover while we are going through this corona situation. But we are going to stay in contact, and know that you can book appointments, because we can do exactly as you see me here. We can do on Zoom and do appointments. So we're not really disconnected. We're just connected in a different way. So this is all about changing our mindset and managing our expectations, and bringing that level of anxiety under control. But know that if you are feeling anxious at the moment, you're not alone. Most of the world is. And it's because of the unknown and the uncertainty that's going on. But that doesn't mean that you ignore it or allow it to take over your life. There's lots of techniques you can use to lessen that for you. So thank you for your time, and I'm sure I will hear from you all very soon, and you'll hear from me. Okay, bye.